Okay, we're rolling.
This is a home interview, Cooperstown, New York. It is the 17th of May, 2004, approximately 1 p.m. The interviewers are Wayne Clark and Mike Russert. Could you give me your full name, date of birth, and place of birth, please?
Okay, my name is Anthony Funaro, born July 11, 1923, Brooklyn, New York.
Okay. What was your educational background prior to entering service?
Well, I've gotten as far as 2 years in high school. I was going to a vocational high school in Manhattan. And at that time, see, my sister was the sole supporter of my mother and father. So once she got married, she moved out and left it up to me. So my father asked me to quit school to go to work and support my mother and father up until that time when I got drafted.
Okay, so you were drafted
January 27, 1943.
okay. I'm going to go back 1 second to,
Oh, sure.
do you recall where you were and your reaction when you heard about Pearl Harbor?
Yeah, it was on a Sunday, a late Sunday afternoon. My friends and I, we were in the candy store. We usually hang out on Sunday nights, and then we heard it on the radio, and we were kind of stunned. First of all, we didn't know too much about Pearl Harbor at the time, you know. And then after we found out what it was all about, we knew just in time, you know, matter of time before we all be drafted in the service.
So you were drafted in the Army. Where did you go for your induction and your basic training?
Well, we went to Fort Dix, and we stayed there a few days till they decided where they wanted to send us. And they transferred us to the train, on the train there, to Texas. And they had just formed a new outfit. They were called the Tank Destroyers, which I never heard about, this outfit. And basically the idea is that the tank outfit that destroys other tanks. And that's what they call the Tank Destroyers. And we did our basic training at Camp Bowie in Texas. That was our basic training. We were supposed to be there for 10 weeks. And then after 10 weeks of basic, they transferred us to Camp Hood, which is now Fort Hood, for an additional, they call that advanced training, for another 10 weeks. And the whole idea was to get us set up to be transferred to North Africa.
Now, what was this? What kind of specialized training did you have as a tank destroyer unit?
Well, at the time, I was a cannoneer. That's a loader. I would load the cannon on the tank. That was my job, because I was a private. And we did that for 10 weeks. And then in addition, like I said, an additional 10 weeks of advanced training. And,
now, was this, what was the weapon that you were in? Was it,
the weapon that we were
was it
training?
a half-track, or was it a tank tread vehicle?
Oh, okay. The beginning of our basic training, we did our training on the half-track. And they have a, what they call it, a 75 millimeter cannon. And I was, like I said, the loader there. Would load the tank, the gun with the shells, and we did that for about 10 weeks, and then they transferred us over to the M10 tanks. And the difference between the regular tanks and the M10, they don't have no turret on top. That's the only difference. And we did a few we went on maneuvers a few times to see how good we do against other tank outfit in maneuvers. And we did very good. We had a very high rating, and we felt that we were ready to go to North Africa at that time. But what happened, they found out that they lost a lot of infantrymen. And so they were moving up to the point where they already took over North Africa. They were moving for, getting set for the Normandy invasion, D-Day. It was in June, and we were still training. And what happened, they took us out of the tank outfit, and they transferred us to an infantry division in Camp Van Dorn, Mississippi. And we would have got another 10 weeks of training of infantry drilling. And from there, they were going to send us to Europe. Because by that time, we finished our training, the invasion was already in progress. And they already moved, the American Allies moved past France. They were heading toward Germany. And at just about the time we were sent to Europe.
Now, what infantry, were you assigned to an infantry division before you left, or?
Yes, what happened, being that, my regular outfit was ready to leave, but I got sick with the virus. So I was sent to the hospital, and I missed my outfit going overseas. So when I came out of the hospital, they transferred me to a replacement outfit. And I went overseas with the replacement outfit to France. And then from France, in France they send you to a replacement camp. And that's where they assign you to a division. And there I was assigned to the 104th Infantry Division. They're known as the Night Fighters. And then we were put aboard a freight cars. They call them 48s. 40 in each car and 8 cars they would have. That was their name they would call them, you know. And then we wind up in Aachen. That's the first city in Germany. And we were replacing the 1st Division, which they in turn did all the spearheading from the invasion all the way to Aachen in Germany. And then I was assigned to the 104th, and it was just about near Thanksgiving. And then from there...
This was 44, of course.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, and after that, that was our last hot meal we had for Thanksgiving, because the next day we were told that we were going to be spearheading the drive. We're replacing the other company, which was tired and probably all worn out, you know. And we were fresh troops just going into action, and we took over. So we kept driving, and that morning, about 5 o'clock that morning, we started our march toward the bridge, because on the other side of the bridge, there was another company that was being pinned down by the enemy. And so our job was to, you know, connect with them. But by the time we got to the bridge, you got to realize the Germans, you know, they know what's going on. They see that we had to go across this bridge. So the first thing they did was to knock out the bridge. And the second wave of artillery, it hit us. And I got wounded in my leg. I found myself on the floor. And at that time, I didn't feel anything, so I didn't know I was hit. Until the next thing I knew, my pants was all wet. So I kept thinking, what could this be from, you know? As I picked up my pants, I noticed it was all red. It was all blood. I called the medics, and he came over, wiped it all down, bandaged me up. He said, it's not that bad. He said, but you should report back to the field hospital. So I asked him where it was. He told me it's directly behind you. So I walked about 2-3 hours. No one seemed to know where this field hospital was, you know. And the next thing I know, I'm back with my old outfit. So I must have went into a circle. And they were surprised to see me, you know. They can't be more surprised than me. So I says, I guess I never found the hospital. He told my captain, don't worry about it, just in time. I says, I figured time to eat or what? No, for another drive. I said, whoa, did I get pale? I wasn't really ready for that. They says, "Oh, don't worry about it. You got time." I said, "Okay." I figure, how many days? What days? In a couple of hours, ready to move out. I said, "Okay," still shaking a little bit. And okay, so now they gave us orders that we would fix bayonet.
Let me just stop you for a second. Were you hit with shrapnel or was it?
Yeah, I was hit by a shrapnel, field artillery
Okay.
piece hit me there. Okay, so when the sergeant gave us the order to fix bayonet, because we're going into the woods, so that means you might come across the enemy and you might have to get involved into combat, hand to hand, So I told my sergeant, I don't know if I can handle that, this is kill be kill. He said, "Listen, let me tell you something. When it comes down to it, it's either you or him. You're going to be ready." I said, okay, with that I had a little confidence. And so we took our march. We went through the woods. Thank God we didn't count nothing, all right? But the whole thing is that we had to go across an open field to get to this next town. That's where we were supposed to meet there. But what happened, the Germans evidently sensed that we were going to make a drive to the right flank, and they were waiting again, and again they dropped artillery on top of us, and we made it to the house. Okay? And once we got to the house, we figured we were safe for a while. But the whole thing is that once you got inside the house, and I was getting positioned when there was my friend on my left, okay, and so now another friend of mine came in front of me, and he pushed me over. He says, "Stop hogging the space. Let me stand here next to you on this side." I said, "Yeah, go ahead," I says, And 5 minutes later, I find myself on the floor. It must have been an explosion. You hear it because the explosion was so loud or so close, you feel a ringing in your ear. But at that moment, I found myself on the floor, and the whole three of us were down. I didn't know exactly what happened. I didn't know how it happened at that time. So finally, the sergeant said, "Everybody downstairs in the basement better rush right away." That's okay. But at that time, my leg felt like had fell asleep. Got that numbness in the leg, And I told my sergeant, I said, "Look, I can't go down right now." I said, "My leg fell asleep. I'm trying to wake it up." Meanwhile, the guy on my right was stretched out. I didn't know that he got killed. I didn't think about it at the time. The other GI on my left, he was probably hit in the arm, so he got up, he went down the basement. Now, I'm trying to get myself together, and as I look down, I see a big hole right where the ankles, right through the boots, So now I'm really getting nervous, I'm starting to get the shakes, and I yell for help, And so the medics came over, tore the pants up, and he said, "Listen, don't look at it." He said, "It's going to make you sick." I said, okay. So he took the boot off, and I saw this big hole on my side of my ankle. And once he got me down, he bandaged me up, brought me downstairs in the basement, and I says to him, "What could have happened?" Because I didn't think it was an artillery, because if they had fired an artillery, it would have blown the whole house up. But it didn't. They said, "No, what must have happened? The Germans were probably real close to this house and probably tossed a hand grenade behind you, because as you look at my jacket, it was all full of holes. Nothing damaged, but only there." So then I asked about my friend Jack, what his name is, and he said that he didn't make it, Anyway, they couldn't move us out because the Germans had surrounded us, and we were waiting for reinforcement. So they called for tank help. And when the tanks came in, they broke up the Germans, and they took us out, put us on a Jeep, and took us to the field hospital. And from that point, when they examined my ankle, they said, we're going to have to send you to a general hospital in England because we can't take care of you over here. I said, okay. So what happened, they took us by the ambulance to Paris and put us aboard a C-47 cargo plane, and they flew us to England. I forgot the name of the town in there, and there they had a general hospital. So when the doctor examined my ankle, he says to me right now, he says, what's happening? From the shrapnel, it numbed all the vein in your foot. He said, that's why your foot had dropped and you can't walk on it. He said, what we're going to do is set it up and put it in a cast. And then we'll put a walking iron so you can walk on it after a week. So from December to about April, he said, then we'll take the cast off and see what happens. I says, well, what do you mean what happened? Well, he said, I mean this. He said, in case it doesn't work out, he says, we're going to have to transfer you to the States for furthermore examination. But listen, he said, don't worry about it right now. He said, just hope that everything will be okay. Well, after 4 or 5 months in April, they cut the cast off. Thank God the ankle and the foot was in good shape. So from that point, then they sent us, then I was assigned to an MP outfit because I can no longer be sent to a combat outfit due to the fact that my ankle was the way it was, you know. So they sent me with an MP outfit in Germany, and I stayed there almost a year until they transferred home. Because see, they used to work with the point system. They allow you 2 points for every month in the service. So due to the fact I came in January 27, so I didn't get the full 2 points. I only got 1 point. So then from that point on, they sent me to Paris, put me on the ship, and I came home. So I left Christmas Day, and we got into New York Harbor on New Year's Day. And we were stationed at Fort Dix. We stayed there for about a couple of days, and they granted us 30 days furlough because they said that there's too many men came home at the same time, so they couldn't discharge us. So after that, I went home for 30 days furlough. I came back, and that's when they discharged me. And I took a couple of months off for vacation until I found a job to go to work.
Now, can I go back?
Sure.
When you were with this MP unit, you were in occupation in Germany? This was after the war was over? Or was it toward the end of the war?
Well, no, it was after the war.
Okay.
Occupation,
Okay,
yes,
so
right.
you were in occupied Germany. Did you, were you ever aware of any of the POW camps or the concentration camps at all?
Well, see, we were stationed in a small town,
Oh, okay.
and it was nowhere near to any camps. So,
Did you ever have any contact with the Russians? Or were you back from there?
No, we were too far from them.
Okay. I was just curious. Did you have much contact with the German people?
Yes.
What were your reactions to the German people at the
Well,
time?
you see, excuse me. See, in a small town, the people there are different than the ones in the city.
Right.
They were more friendly toward us. They accepted us in this town because, first of all, we have no place to stay, so they took over maybe like 2 blocks of houses so we can occupy them. So we had to pay them a certain amount of money for them to relocation, for them to go to another town to live in. So we had to make the difference for that, you know. And we stayed there, like I said, I think about 6, 7 months.
Okay. Now, when you returned to the States and were discharged, did you ever make use of the GI Bill?
Oh yes. See what happened when I came home. I reported to the VA, and they assigned us to one of the advisor there. You know, what you like, what you're looking for. You know, what kind of school do you want to go to? See, that's what the whole idea for me was, to go to school to learn a trade, because I had no trade. And I asked to go to electrical school, it was filled up. Auto mechanic, everything was filled up. And the only thing they had an opening was a sewing machine operator. I took that for 10 weeks and found a job working as a sewing machine operator. But then I found out that they work by contract. You know, they work after it's finished, then they lay you off until they call you back. I says, my mother, I said, can't work like that. I want a steady job. So someone told me, go to a paying agency in Manhattan. And what you do is they find you a job, and the first week's pay you turn over to them. So they found me a job working for the Burner Swiss dial. They make the dial for wristwatches. So I was there for about 12 years. And then I found out there was an opening in the post office for maintenance. So I put an application in, and being I was a disabled vet, so I checked that, or I get the 10 points extra on my whatever mark I received. So due to the fact that I passed the test for the post office, where I got 96 plus 10, a 10 was 106. So they called me right away, and I reported to work in Manhattan. Morgan Annex was the first station I worked for, and I worked in the post office 27 years.
Did you ever use the 5220 club?
Or the beginning, when I first come out, yes.
Okay.
Because I feel that I need a vacation, and I used that for a while until I found this other job after a while.
Did you ever join veterans organizations?
The DAV.
DAV, okay.
And
Now, I noticed you won the Purple Heart, but you also won a Bronze Star. Where did you receive that?
that was when?
Where, for what action?
That was in Europe.
Okay. When you were wounded, around that time?
Around that time, yes.
Okay. Did you ever stay in contact with anyone that was in service with you?
I tried. When I got out after a while, because I have a picture of when we were in 647, the TD outfit, we took a group picture, and in the back is all the names and addresses of all the soldiers that I was trained with. And I got in contact with a couple of soldiers for a short time. Then that was it.
How do you think your time in service either changed or had an effect on your life?
Well, you see, you got to realize, okay, when I came home, I was okay for a while. I didn't know what kind of effect it would have on me from being in combat and all that that took place. But I noticed that toward the summer, we had a lot of lightnings and thunder. You see, that's what used to bother me, the lightning and the thunder. But you kept thinking about when you was in Europe, when you was running across the open field, and they would open up with artillery, and your mind goes back to that. And see, and it was very hard for me to sleep. And so they said, I went to the VA, and I explained that to them. I said, I'm having a hard time sleeping with this here. It's gotten the best of me. And he said, the best thing for you to do, we have a group, okay, with everyone with the same problem. And you go to this meeting, And we're in there, you talk about the things that bothered you. Try to get it out in the open. And which I did. And I found out that it helped me a lot. See, not everybody can talk about it. Some people don't want to talk about it. And but I found out what I did, by doing that, it helped me a great deal. More or less to accept civilian life after a while.
Okay. Could you tell us, if you hold this up in front of you, and just tell us when and where that was taken? Do you recall when and where that was taken?
That was taken in the States.
Before you went overseas?
Before I went overseas.
Okay.
It was my last furlough that I was on. I was in Camp Meade. That's in Maryland. See, when you go, that's important embarkation. From that point, you go overseas. So they allow us 3 days pass. And I came home, and I went to a studio, and I took this picture.
Okay.
And all these medals, I qualified for every one of them. And to tell you the truth, before I went in, I didn't know nothing about weapons. And it took a long time before I got into that.
Okay, if you'll hold that up, I can
Yeah,
zoom
sure.
in on it. Yep, right there is fine. And how old were you there?
Let's see, I went in 23, 22, 21.
Okay, got it.
Okay. Is there anything else that you think you'd like to add?
Do you want to hold up that newspaper article too? And that was when you were presented with your high school diploma?
That's right.
Okay. And what year was that? Or approximately?
I think it was 2001.
Okay. All right.
And this was at Cooperstown High School?
Yes.
Got it.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Thank you for your interview.
Those medals, is that something we do?
Oh, yes.
They're in the,
I have,
All right, explain
can I sit
everything.
down or should I?
Yeah, if you'd sit down, I can get you in the picture. Okay, I can zoom right in on the
Yeah.
frame. Just explain what you have there. Okay.
You see, these are the medals that I qualify, and these are the patches I received from each outfit that I was assigned to.
Got to get a little more light in here, that's all.
Okay, so the top one was the tank
That was the
destroyer.
tank destroyer. See the black cat with
Right.
the tank in its mountain.
Right.
That was my first, and then after they reassigned me when I was sent overseas. This was the 104th Infantry Division. Notice the
The
Timberwolves they are.
Timberwolves, yes.
And after that, after I was wounded, and they sent me back to Germany to the MP, this was the outfit that I was assigned to. 9th
9th Air Force, huh?
at 9th Air Defense Corps.
Okay. And I see you've got the Combat Infantryman's badge,
Oh
too.
yes, that's very important. To have one's battle star.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
did you tell me you showed your,
Okay, now where was this taken?
This was taken in Fort Hood, Texas. We had just finished our last training. In fact, right after this was over, they sent us to Fort Camp Van Duren for infantry training.
Okay.
Now, where are you in that picture?
Oh. I know I'm in the front there. See that back there.
can't recognize himself.
Oh, that point.
You're in the front someplace.
Oh, here. You can hardly see that. I
But
don't know.
I was going to say, I can zoom right in on it.
Oh, here.
Pick one.
Yeah.
point yourself out again.
Okay. Oh.
Where are you? Where that little red dot is?
Oh yeah. Okay. That should do it.
Okay.
I think we all look alike by that time.
All right, got it.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Now you've got,
Oh, I'm sorry.
no, that's all right. I think your wife brought a couple other items out too.
No, I just
No,
brought
that was-
this.
Oh, okay.
Is the bronze certificate of the bronze
Oh,
star.
yeah,
this.
yeah. We'd
See,
like to
that's
see
what
those
that
too.
is.
What's the?
And that's a picture of him in the service.
Okay.
The only thing he said he went in as a boy, he came out as a man.
Yes.
Well, that was.
Married him a long time.
And let me get this picture.
When did you get married?
1948. I met him when he just came home from the service. 1946, January.
Okay, great, got it.
We were married
Okay.
55 years.
Okay, thank you.
I hope